What's going on, Muscle Monsters? Alain Gonzalez here, and today I got a video for my fellow hard gainers. If you are finding it hard to put on size no matter how much you eat, and I've said this before, you're not eating enough, all right? And typically, as a hard gainer, you are going to be able to fit much more carbs into your diet than most people, all right? The problem is, a lot of the time we either don't have the appetite or we think we're eating more than we are. But what I want to share today are a few high carb sources that you can implement into your diet to make sure that you're getting enough carbs without feeling overly stuffed all day. All right? Now, the first thing I want to say, I guess it's not the first thing anymore, but in terms of fiber, right? We know how important fiber intake is, but when your carbs are so high, you typically can hit your fiber pretty easily. However, I do want to say that it's something that you should consider in your diet, and that's, you know, making sure you hit your fiber for sure. All right, a lot of these foods are not high in fiber for the simple reason, again, that you want carbs that are not going to make you feel too full throughout the day and kill your appetite, and just make sure you're hitting your total fiber for the day and not necessarily going over, because that's not going to help you. All right, so let's jump right in. First things first, rice. All right, rice I like because it's easy to consume a lot in a sitting, and you get a lot of bang for your buck. So a cup of rice, which is typically what you will consume in a meal, comes out to about 40 grams of carbs. But what you also have to remember is that when you're eating rice, you're never really ever eating rice on its own. You might add something like beans, whether they're black or kidney beans. Either way, it's another high carb source, right? With a cup of beans, you're adding in another roughly 40 grams of carbs. So just in your beans and your rice, that's 80 grams of carbs in one sitting, okay? Another thing is, I am a huge bread eater, all right? But when I'm trying to put on size and I need more carbs than usual, I'll substitute my bread with bagels because there's just more volume. One bagel gets you 53 grams of carbs, and I can easily sit down and consume 2 of these. All right, so we're talking over 100 grams of carbs in 2 bagels in one quick sitting. All right, so just with 2 bagels in the morning and some rice and beans at night, you're already looking at close to 200 grams of carbs for the day, just in 2 meals. All right, another thing I really like are potatoes. All right, whether it's, you know, sweet potatoes, white potatoes, or red potatoes, you can typically consume high volumes of these. Let me see here. I typically will have what comes out to 2 servings, which equates to about 50 grams of carbs. And then on top of that, I'll add some low-fat barbecue sauce that adds another 20 grams of carbs, making it about 70 grams of carbs in one medium-sized meal. All right. Another thing I like to add, especially during breakfast, is this quick instant oatmeal. I typically will have 2 packets, maybe sometimes I'll have 3, and per packet you're looking at close to 30 grams. So if you eat 2 or 3, we're looking at 60 to 90 grams of carbs in one simple sitting. And once you finish that, you're probably not going to be full for too long, and thus, you know, you'll have the appetite for your next meal, and you don't have to worry about, you know, not wanting to eat anymore throughout the day. Okay, what's next? All right, fruit. I love fruit. It's a great source of carbs, micronutrients, and I'm doing it a little bit different though. I like dried fruit, particularly dried bananas, because they're easy to consume in high amounts. So if you've ever sat down to eat chips, you never eat 1 serving of chips. Same thing goes with these. I never sit down and eat one serving, right? Because I kind of just snack on them, and you're gonna get almost 20 grams of carbs per a third a cup. And usually in a sitting, if I'm just kind of working and snacking, I'll have, you know, maybe a whole cup of these pretty easily. So we're looking at a quick 60 grams of carbs just with some dried fruit. All right. You guys have seen me talk about pasta a lot, especially this brand. It's high in protein, but the amount of carbs in there is just ridiculous. This is any Hardgainer's dream. Let me see, I'll tell you right now. In one serving, which is about 2 ounces, you'll get 40 grams of carbs, okay? But you never have just 2 ounces. I typically have, you know, maybe 4 to 6 ounces, which is a lot. But even if you took, or if you had, you know, a normal amount, or what I would consider to be normal, maybe 4 ounces, you're looking at 80 grams of carbs just in your pasta, all right? It's also very high in protein. You're looking at about 20 grams of protein in a serving of about 4 ounces, all right? Not to mention whatever other protein sources you add to your pasta. All right, and then this last one is kind of just something I wanted to throw in. I know a lot of you guys out there probably eat cereal. I eat Go Lean, the cashy kind. It's 13 grams of protein, but more importantly, you're getting 35 grams of carbs in 1 cup of this. You're also getting a nice deal of fiber, all right, 10 grams, which is typically pretty high for one meal, especially if you're trying not to get too full, but I still definitely would recommend this cereal. But what I do is I add some kind of a granola. I typically like this lower fat granola. It's the oats and honey. It adds an extra 10 grams of protein, but it also adds another 32 grams of carbs, making, you know, 1 bowl of cereal about 70 grams of carbs plus about 23 grams of protein. All right? So I hope that was helpful. If it was, click the like button below. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.